Hi, Barry Skeen, Brand Director from QuickSilver Sound Architects here, and behind me I'm delighted to introduce to you Range Rover Sport SV, top of the range model. This actually has some optional extras: ceramic coated brakes, carbon fibre wheels, carbon fibre hood I think comes as standard, magnificent interior, but let's get to the innards of this. 4.4 BMW engine, mild hybrid, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, top speed of 180 miles an hour, V8 I think I've said, but is exceptionally muted from factory. And I don't blame it. It has OPF filters, secondary cats, twin turbos, and of course, as I've said, mild hybrid technology. Very, very quiet from stock. Don't believe me? Well, let's have a quick start up. This has got the factory system on it. Cold start has already been done. And that's it started up. You would say with the aggressive demeanour of this vehicle, the muscular looks, you'd expect a bit more from a V8. Little rev. That's something, but that doesn't sound like a proper V8 to me. So what we're going to do later on, we're going to talk through the system on the ground in more detail. We'll go through exactly the tech spec of the wonderful QuickSilver Sound Architect system there. But right now we're going to get this on the ramp, and then we put our system on it, take it on the road, and really show you what a QuickSilver Sound Architect system can do for this wonderful Range Rover Sport SV. So this is valves open, and you were saying, and I agree, I would keep the valves open all the time.
I would. It's not too intrusive. I think it should have been like this from the factory, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's just perfect. In lower gears, high revs, it is quite loud, especially with the windows down. But really, you can cruise around like this, no problem. Got a volume at the moment, if you can hear that. It's quite fruity. Valve closed, we'll chuck it back into normal mode and we're cruising again.
That is actually a massive transformation.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're back to cruising.
Yeah. I like that. I personally would like to be able to have a contrast.
Yeah.
Depending on my environment.
Motorway driving.
Yeah.
This is how you want it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still super fast Range Rover Sport SV, but really nice. You can chill out, people in the back, and you can talk, that sort of thing.
This is a very, very cool car. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll get back to the factory, or the headquarters even, and we'll have a quick look at exactly the system on the floor and show you what makes our system that much better. To this side of me is famous sales director Ollie, who's going to tell us why our system is so much better than that thing.
What is it you said earlier, Barry? Will you tell us off camera why this sucks and why this is good? So
Yes.
I'll endeavour to tell you why that sucks right now. So look, great car but strangled by emissions and legislation. Couple of reasons. You've got quality of tone and projection, essentially. We find this car sounds like two broken four cylinders when you start it up, and that's because there's very minimal mixing of gases on this exhaust system. So two little balance pipes here mean that essentially as the gases come down from each bank of four, you do have transition between the two, but it's minimal, and I'm sure we can roll some footage side by side so that you can hear a cold start on the original exhaust versus on the QuickSilver. So first part of the secret to the sound is with this. This is the X pipe, which essentially replaces this section. So everything on the exhaust system is replacement from front to back. So X pipe, what does that mean? That means that as the gases travel down, they must meet in this transition here. So rather than hear two fluttering banks of four, you're hearing V8 gases mixing in the middle for a much more defined note. Obviously the front pipes here are replicated with the flexi sections in them, so we're removing vibration from the exhaust system when you don't want it. Bore size and flow is another really interesting one. There's some huge looking parts of this system, particularly if you look here, but they're hydroformed, so it's squashed. So what looks enormous here, in reality, particularly when you've got some of these big compressions here, is creating a bit of restriction. You look at that, I mean, it's like someone stepped on a Coke can. Whereas here, lovely smooth transition bend on bend mandrel bends. We've simplified the bend line so that you've got the smoothest transition of flow. And then as we move on to the rear section where you can kind of see where your money's going, valve control on these, Cooster valve control, but linked with the ECU so that they're suppressive rather than fully opening, so they're constantly varying. That is for sound control purposes in the wake of the Volkswagen emissions scandal, and I'm sure if I'm waffling too much, Barry can cut a lot of this out. But principally, that's why the valves are never fully opening. On the QuickSilver, you've got your Sound Architect valve control. So this clever little box puts you in control. Yes, it's fully open, fully shut at the touch of a button on your app. And that essentially means you can get in the car and those valves are wide open, or indeed if you were leaving early in the morning, you could have them fully shut, including on the cold start, which you can't do on the original car. And then the party piece, the bit that you really see is these tips. So we've gone slightly wider than the original profile. These are slightly deeper but narrower. We've gone a bit fatter and wider, so you get that real aggressive kind of shotgunny looking stance from the rear of the car. Can't tell you how much I say we, but Paul had to put his hand in his pocket for moulds for these because they are unique to this series of Range Rover. 4.5 inch by 4 inch, slightly ovalised tailpipes, but it just looks like money on the back of the car.
Oh, and one more thing, emissions. Everyone's always asking, does it trip, you know, the ECU or MOTs and stuff like that? How does it stand with the emissions?
Good question, and one I probably should have answered earlier. This is all OPF back and emissions friendly. I could demonstrate that quite quickly for you if you wanted. So basically the emissions equipment is all in the car's downpipes. So we don't touch those. These are monitored by the car, connected to the ECU, and can't be removed as of yet without a check engine light. You can see there that your differential pressure sensors sat there for the OPF. So you've got OPF and secondary cat. Primary cat sits off the turbo. So anything beyond this natural join, which just unbolts, stays. All your emissions equipment is intact. QuickSilver joins thereafter. So totally MOT friendly, carb legal, all that stuff.
That's good. Yeah, no cutting or anything, just bolts on, bolts off.
Bolts on, bolts off. So you can see we've got the front pipes over here, look. Everything's clamped, so where you've got factory banded clamps on the original, they're all with your QuickSilver, so everything remains, all your tack welded clamps. The idea is that you should be able to revert this to stock without a trace, and the dealer will never know.
That's very good. Talking of clamps, this is a relatively new addition for us, isn't it, on some systems? These laser cut clamps?
Yeah, correct, yeah, concentric V-band flanges with the clamps in the massive 3-inch or 76mm internal diameter fitment. These essentially create a watertight seal, but for the installer also allow you to rotate the entire rear assembly on the car, so that if you want to sort of level it out or go a little bit more aggressive on the pitch, it's kind of at the installer's choice. So just gives you loads of flexibility with the install and creates a nice seal.
Oh, all right, cool, okay. Yeah, well, I think that is it now. There surely cannot be any other questions you need to know. But if so, the website, contact us, phone us, email us, all that stuff. See you on the next one.